Good evening, gang. Bet this isn't the environment you expected for a wildcard selection. Put together a team. 0.1 off. Two of my players both rose by 0.1 last night.
Yeah, but what your viewers aren't getting, I played my wildcard about, 1 a.m? And I was on to play yours, and you were like, no, I think my team looks decent. I think I'll wait to see how Haaland does tomorrow.
I looked at my team and As was like, again, the sabotage. Your team looks really good. Why are you thinking of wildcarding? And then I was just putting my team together and I went, I'm 0.1 off. And he went, that's why I wildcarded last night because I didn't want to be in your position.
That is exactly what I said, yeah.
We got carried away and I ended up in a kebab shop. But it's now 3:08 a.m. and I think the price rises would have happened. So if I don't get a good finish, I'm going to put it down to tonight in Madrid where I was outpriced of the players I wanted. I let the night take me away and I was thinking I'd be back in the hotel at midnight, be able to beat any price rises and then get a good team. But I don't think that's going to happen. We'll see what kind of a team I can put together with the wild card. And I will check in with you another day. It's taken a while, but I have finally got a green arrow. I started off so strongly this season in game week 1 and then it's just gotten steadily worse. But thankfully, I've managed to go from 5 million to 4.5 million. Still not great, not a huge, haven't halved my rank or anything, but we're going in the right direction. Now, my plan for this upcoming game week was to make one transfer and then use my wildcard next game week. But if we look at the team, it's not looking very healthy, is it? I got very lucky last game week with Muniz coming off the bench and then managed to get an assist. But we've got João Pedro out, Sangare, Barco. There's question marks over Raya. Mikalenko's recovered from his illness, but I'm still not feeling massively confident on that one. And I just thought, I'm at such a bad rank at the moment. The season has not gone well. I probably need to play it safe, bring in Haaland. And yeah, that's the plan. So unfortunately, we will be saying goodbye. Well, not really unfortunately. We will be saying goodbye to this team and we're going very boring. I've tried not to look at any wildcard drafts on Twitter, but it turns out we all want the same players for very good reason. So to explain my wildcard thought process, I thought it's probably quite helpful to tell you through my priority players and then players that I would like. So my main focus of this wildcard is Haaland, Gabriel, Saka, Watkins, Mbeumo and Trent. And then players I would like to have, but they're a bit more luxurious, are Salah, Palmer, Havertz, Solanke and Brennan Johnson. So I will show you what I've come up with so far. This is my current wildcard team. I'm not fully locked in on it yet. I'm just playing around with some ideas. I've got 1.1 million remaining in the bank, which I think will be really helpful for future price rises. Unfortunately, where I kept putting off the wildcard, then finally thought I'll just go with this team, captain Salah, and hope for the best. To then activating the wildcard, I missed out on so many price rises, which is very, very annoying. But we are where we are. Now in goal, we've got Raya. In case he's injured, I'll probably bring in Flecken. There are some alternatives that I can go for other Arsenal assets to fill that spot, which I'll go into shortly. But I think for now, pretty much locked in and just going to hope for the best. Then we've got Trent. This is one of those, if it's not broke, don't fix it type scenarios. I just haven't had any issues with him over the course of the season. He does take up a big chunk of the budget, but I do need a Liverpool asset somewhere. I've gone without Salah, I've gone without Diaz, there's no Jota. So ideally, Trent will be able to make up for those points that I might miss. He came away with an 11 pointer last week thanks to an assist, a clean sheet and 2 bonus points. At the moment, he's averaging 6.4 points per match and he's got an expected goal involvement of 0.49 per 90. So in my eyes, he is just well worth the price. I'm going to keep him there. Then we've got Milenkovic going for the Forest defence. They're on such a great run this season and currently remain unbeaten. They've picked up 2 clean sheets and I could maybe go for Aina, who scored 20 points so far this season in comparison to Milenkovic's 15, and that's thanks to bonus points. Milenkovic isn't getting those bonus points in the same way, but I just think he looks a bit more of an attacking threat and there's something that draws me to him, but I don't know whether I should just play it safer and go for Aina instead. I could also play Robinson over Milenkovic, but I think where I'm playing Wood up front, I maybe just need to go all in on Forest and hope that Robinson doesn't score and that Fulham definitely don't keep a clean sheet. But that is one maybe subject to change. Then Gabriel, absolutely, he is locked into the team alongside Trent. He's had back-to-back goals and I'm not expecting him to score every week, but with Arsenal looking so strong defensively and with their upcoming fixtures, I'm just really keen to double up on that defence. But this does also hang in the balance of how fit Raya is. If he's out, I'm not really sure how the team's going to do defensively. So it would be nice to have a bit of luck on my side for that one. Then in the midfield, Rodgers, I won't lie, I was getting a bit fed up with him until this game week when he got 2 assists. I watched the match of the day highlights and he just looked really, really strong. And at his price point, I think he's an absolute bargain. There also weren't any alternative players around that price point, so I'm quite keen to keep Rodgers in. And for that Ipswich away fixture, really looking forward to owning him for that one. Then Mbumo, I'm so excited to finally have him in my team. Last season, I missed out big time by not having him and it really cost me. And after seeing how West Ham did against Chelsea, this was a priority transfer for me. Even if I wasn't wildcarding, I think I potentially would have taken a hit or tried to use one free transfer to get Mbumo in. I just think he's a really, really solid option to go for. He's also scored in both home fixtures for Brentford this season, so I'm definitely expecting some returns this week. Saka, again, similar to Trent, he's steady and consistent. He's returned in every game this season. Arsenal now have a really nice run of fixtures, so I don't see any reason to deviate from him. I was tempted by Trossard and Havertz, but I'm going to play it safe with Saka. My only concern is that he did come off at 45 minutes against City, but then he went on to play in the midweek fixture. And I was kind of hoping that he was going to have a bit of a rest, but I don't think Arteta will ever let Saka have a rest. And also, even in that 45 minutes against City, he managed to leave the pitch with an assist. So I'm going to keep the premium option there, stick with Saka, and then it may be in a couple of game weeks we see that actually Havertz is doing better and I can move the funds around, so I could maybe go for him. And if Trossard came out as a really good FPL asset, I would have him in my team straight away. But at the moment, I'm not taking risks. So Saka, playing it safe. And then we've got Semenyo. Now, I've seen so much criticism about him, but I've been keen to get him into my team since game week 1. He looked really sharp last season, filling in as a striker while Solanke was out, and he got 8 goals and 4 assists in just 25 starts. He caught my eye really early on when he was reclassified as a midfielder, which gives him more routes into points thanks to the clean sheet point. This season, he started off really well, getting attacking returns in the opening 3 games, and that's typical. I wasn't going to bring him in at the start because I thought the fixtures were too difficult, but turns out I should have done it. He's blanked since, but he was up against Chelsea and Liverpool. They've got a really welcome run for game week 6 and 7, going against the promoted teams, Southampton and Leicester. So I think Semenyo is just a no-brainer, and if you're going to have any slander about him, I'm not listening. Then up front, I've stuck with Watkins, and I've seen a lot stronger midfields than mine, but I think my money is going into Watkins in that position. I didn't consider taking him out, to be honest. He's in good form. I was initially a bit worried about his minutes, but he played the full 90 last game week and 83 minutes the game week before. Ipswich away, again, can see him coming away with a big haul. I don't want to jinx things, but that's what I would anticipate. That's what I'm looking forward to. And then we have brought back Chris Wood. Now, I didn't expect him to still be starting games at this point, but I'm really pleased to see that he still kept his place. I'm still a bit on edge about his minutes, but the fact that he took the penalty last game week, even though Morgan Gibbs-White was on the pitch, my shock in my vlog, by the way, when that happened, I said it about 4 times, I had to keep cutting it out. But that's made me feel a bit more at ease that he is more of a core member of the team. And he scored in, I think, 15 out of 25 starts, which is ridiculous. Forest have got a really nice set of fixtures coming up. Morgan Gibbs-White is suspended until the 6th of October, and I'm a bit interested to see how the team gets on without him. But I think as long as Wood is in that starting 11, he will be in my fantasy football team. And then I have caved. I have got Erling Haaland, and I feel quite a relief. Now, unfortunately, instead of getting him at 15 million, I ended up getting him at 15.3 million, which really does get into that budget. But I think I'm going to be captaining him every game week, and I took Salah out because if I'm not captaining him, then I think it's too much money to be spending on a player. Haaland's got an XG of 1.14, and the expectation every game week is that he will score. For me, my kind of standard for Haaland now is a brace. That's what I kept on bracing myself for. That's such a bad joke. But that's what I was anticipating every single game week, and we saw him getting back-to-back hat-tricks. He's just such a dangerous player, and it does make the team and general teams a bit boring. I think you have to base everything around Haaland, and then inevitably we're all going for the kind of cheaper options. But my rank's not doing well. I'm making the wrong captaincy decisions every week. The weeks that I should have captained Salah, I was going for Palmer, and it's a lot more stressful. Whereas I think Haaland, it's a more boring way to play, but I might long term get a bit more joy from the game. Oh, my voice is breaking. But also, City are playing Newcastle this game week. It is a home fixture for Newcastle, though. If it was away, I'd be expecting a massive haul. But we will see. I hope that I don't jinx Haaland, because if Haaland blanks this game week, and it's the week that I brought him in, and Salah hauls, I don't know. Anyway, then the bench. We've still got Fabianski there. I could bring in Flecken as a backup goalkeeper in case Raya doesn't play, but that's a lot of money to put in goalkeepers. And if Raya does end up playing, then I'm just stuck with Flecken and we'll downgrade him to Fabianski anyway. So that's future me's problem. Robinson, I've been really happy with in my team. He's had 2 assists so far this season, so I think he's quite a nice, even if it's a poor fixture for Fulham, we've still got that attacking threat. And then I've got my Southampton and Leicester assets that are just placeholders. They could change. So that brings me to some potential tweaks I could make on this team. My first alternative to this team would be to bring in Caicedo for Dibbling. He's 4.9 million, so that would leave me with 0.7 million in the bank. This is probably just a 1 week punt and it's trying to fill that Cole Palmer hole that he is no longer in my team. But I really like having a player that's up against their former club, and obviously Chelsea are playing Brighton this game week. Plus he's coming off the back of an impressive performance against West Ham and he also got an assist in that game. But it's very much a short-term pick and he's likely to remain on my bench for the following game weeks. So I'm not sure if it's really worth the money. And also it'll give me a bit of a benching headache because then I will have to bench one of my other attackers. Whereas I think at the moment, without Caicedo there, I'm quite happy with that setup. Then obviously Raya could be an issue and potentially a waste of an Arsenal spot. So alternatively, I could stick with double Arsenal defence by upgrading Milenkovic to Saliba and then downgrading Raya to Flecken, which will leave me with 0.6 million in the bank. The downside with this is I don't rely on Flecken in the same way that I can rely on Raya. Raya I will play every single week. I'm not fussed about who the opposition is. Whereas Flecken, there's going to be a bit more hesitancy there. But then on the flip side of that, having such a strong defence with those 3 premium assets could make up for a poor goalkeeper when we might only be getting 1 or 2 points anyway. Whereas having double Arsenal plus Trent, that's strong. But then I could scrap my double Arsenal defence and upgrade Fabianski to Sells, but double Forest defence might be a little bit too bold. In midfield then, I could bring in Brennan Johnson for a bit more of a punt and to just add a bit more fun to my team. He's only owned by 0.6% of managers. He's had 4 starts so far and scored in Spurs' latest fixture against Brentford. Again, one of those players I just really have a soft spot. And in a similar way to Chris Wood, if Brennan Johnson was to score, that would probably be the highlight of my game week in comparison to like Haaland scoring, where I'd be relieved but not really that excited about it. But again, with my rank, I don't know whether I'm in that position yet to bring in punts, so we might just play it safe. But in order to afford the Brennan Johnson pick, I could then bring Strand Larsen up front instead of Wood. Now, this is where we are probably getting silly because Strand Larsen and Brennan Johnson, 2 players I would really like to have, but I don't think they're necessarily proven assets yet. Strand Larsen is similar to Semenyo, where I was doing some research during pre-season and he really stood out to me, but I didn't have a great need to bring him in immediately. If I was to bring him in, he would very much be benched on my team for the foreseeable. I'm not expecting huge things, but Wolves' fixtures do turn after they play City in game week 8. He has had 1 goal and 1 assist already, and he's also started in all 5 fixtures. So that could be a nice backup option, but I think I'm going to wait and see on that one. Thankfully, I will just be downgrading. So if I do downgrade Wood to Strand Larsen, at least I can upgrade elsewhere in my team. So it's a nice kind of backup option to have, and I've already got that player in mind. Alternatively, I could just keep Chris Wood there, but bring back Fabianski, and then that will leave me with 0.2 million in the bank. So there are plenty of options to go through with this wildcard. I'm going to be tinkering this evening and trying to figure out what I am happiest with. I'm not disappointed with this team, but I do find it a bit dull. And then I went on Twitter today and it's just, everyone's got some sort of variation of this team, but it's for good reason. We've got a fixture swing. I don't know. We'll see. I think if I get a massive green arrow, then I'll probably feel much more strongly about it. But the plus side of my team previously was I found it a bit more exciting. But maybe if I can get to a nice steady rank, then I can start bringing in my Brennan Johnson, Strand Larsens, and then have a bit of fun that way. But yes, let me know in the comments if you are wildcarding this week and what your team looks like. And also, if you're not captaining Haaland, let me know who your captaincy is on. You can stay up to date with how my wildcard gets on in my next vlog, which will be going live hopefully Sunday night, if not Monday morning. And I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.